Oh my gosh, it's been a hot minute before I've been on here, but let me introduce you guys to my co-hosts, Lex and Peyton Rose. We are ready to get this thing started, but we are going to be doing this together now. So the P's are officially in the pod and we are ready to go. So instead of it being a solo show now, it is us three gals together for the rest of time. Welcome, welcome.
We're super duper excited. This is going to be so much fun. We have such good conversation and our relationships are just flourishing into like this beautiful picture, and we're super excited to get this rolling.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, so girls, let's tell them kind of what we were what happened. Yeah, just about this summer and like how we even got to this point where now we're doing it together.
Well, we started this book called Why Do We Do What We Don't Want to Do?
Yeah.
By JP. And so that led to a lot of FaceTimes and a lot of good conversations that have honestly helped me throughout my struggle after graduating. But yeah.
During one of our conversations, I was like, so Endya, I've been having like this pull on my heart. Something is just like telling me about a group podcast. And I was like, I've talked to other people about it and blah, blah, blah. And you were like, no way. I've been wanting to ask you guys, but I didn't want you guys to like basically just say yes to make you feel good or whatever. And we had like this whole realization. We were like, I think let's do it. Let's pray about it. And we spent probably like a month or so praying about it, right? I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, probably
like,
close to that.
Is this what we should do? Is this what, like, I don't know, whatever. And it just never didn't feel wrong. So we were like, yep, full send. And here we are. We got to this point, and we've been best pals since we met in college.
Yeah.
Basically. We met in Moorhead, played a little bit of softball together, swung a little bit of bat, fielded a little bit of balls.
A little bit is the key word there.
A little bit.
A lot of emotional trauma, physical trauma that brought us closer together. Okay.
Ultimately, it was a bonding.
Ultimately, we bonded through trauma, but Jesus really kept us together.
So, yeah, that's true.
That's how all the good friendships are formed. Yeah. But yeah, so kind of like my thought process was, oh my gosh, so last semester was crazy, but not only was it crazy, I just felt this like emotional and spiritual roadblock with the podcast. Like I just felt like I had hit this place where I don't know what to do next. I don't have time to go and search for guests. And I just loved our conversations we had together. Every time I had a podcast episode with one of y'all, I felt like it was such an easy conversation that we had some really good deep talks and they were enjoyable. And then we had our FaceTimes over the summer and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the Lord telling me like, here's your solution. Like, here's what I want you to do. And so I think this is going to be so good. We all live in different states, which is so hilarious. But Peyton, Rose, and Lex came and visited like just a couple weeks ago. And so it's been so fun just to get to walk through this like stage of life. We've all gone through relationships and breakups and new relationships. And so we have so much to talk about and so much of our stories to share. So we'll kind of like go into a little bit of our testimonies, and then we have something that's really close to all of our hearts that we'd like want to share with you guys. So without further ado, ladies, let's talk about our testimonies, like a little bits and pieces we'll share along the way, but for sure, like give them a little intro about who you are as a person.
Okay, I'll start. So I'll have like an hour or so because my kids alive. But just to sum it up, I mean, my walk really started in college. I mean, y'all have seen me at my worst, I would say, throughout college, especially the first 2 years. I believed in God, but like I wasn't a follower of Jesus, which is two obviously different components. And so I think what really shifted me was honestly like Endya showing up, and just her faith was so big and just so loud that I was like, okay, I'm missing something here. Like I've never viewed God like that before. So that's really what sparked something in me, and that was just a lot. It really turned my friend group around too. It really helped me be in a group with Lex. That's when I think our friendship kind of flourished too, was when I think it was like junior year or something.
Yeah.
Whenever I was like, okay, there's something more to life right now, and I think I need to switch up my friend group. And so that was really life changing. I mean, y'all have put me on the path and like kind of kept me on the path of Christ, and that is really what my testimony like started, I guess. And it just kind of skyrocketed and then lowered from there, especially after I graduated college. The Lord was quick to show me that I was kind of living off of y'all's faith instead of my own faith, which is okay to live off of other people's faith, but I think you need your own faith as well. And I just didn't have it on my own. And so that the FaceTimes really like kind of just slapped me in the face. Like I need to go back to reality. Like I've been drifting away from Christ. And then I think alumni weekend, when we came back and we had that Better Life service, that's really was like, okay, that's when I really opened my heart up to the Lord. And I was like, all right, this is it. I'm all in right now. Like that service really was a pivotal change in my life. I think it was for all of us. Well, India wasn't there, but I mean, after that service, we were all crying. We're like,
yeah,
what is going on? Like we've been steered off the path that whole summer, and then Jesus led us back. And so that was really cool to see, especially with y'all.
Yeah, like just kind of going off your testimony was so, and of course I want Lex to tell hers too. But I think one of the sweetest things about this whole thing was that we did it all together. Like it was not like you had your own journey, I had my, like we all had our individual journeys, but we did it together. And I genuinely don't think I would have been able to do all of that without you guys, honestly.
Yeah.
Not to be like all weird and emotional right now, but 100% that's how I felt. Like I felt like the Lord changed my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love these people so much. I want them to see what I'm seeing. Like I want them to see how Jesus is changing my life. And it was the craziest thing that y'all have seen, like, and we've seen each other's like so many different seasons and so many different stages. I mean, y'all saw probably my rock bottom when I was at Moorhead. And then from there, it's just been different. So y'all have seen in the past few years how Jesus has changed my life. And it's so cool to have friends that have seen every stage of your life. And then I've gotten to see y'all. So I think that's just so sweet to have friends like that, because you just can't top a friendship like that has seen every stage of your life, has stuck it out with you, and you've all grown together. Anyways, sorry, go ahead, Lex.
No, so good. So good. So I think, I mean, I've talked about it on here. I grew up Christian, but obviously we all like played softball. That got very kind of in the way up until college. So I'm just gonna mainly talk about my college, just like Peyton did, or my college, how I found Christ again. So got to Moorhead completely on a whim, and luckily I was blessed with my roommate that I had, because I think I knew I wanted to go and explore my faith more since I was going to be independent out there. But like having my roommate at the time, Allison Davis, yeah, she was amazing. She was a mentor for me the whole entire time that I started out there. We got plugged into Better Life. We got plugged into Athletes in Action. We did all the things. She would hold me accountable in so many different ways. I could not thank her enough for being like that light that I needed whenever I first got there. I was terrified to be there. I was terrified of everybody on the team. It was just a really overwhelming experience, but she made it a lot easier, and then gave me so much more joy while I was there. And I mean, our first semester was something that I've never experienced before in so many different ways. And I think it's just amazing that God led me there and allowed me to like build a community and surround people surround me with people that like made the literal most suffering moments of my life not feel as bad. And that's totally a God thing. I 100% believe that. Fast forward, I feel like we all like grew together. We built our friendships. We got into like super good community out in Moorhead. And then when we graduated, same thing as Peyton, like it got tough because we were constantly surrounded. And I think, I mean, we talked about it before, like being able to just walk across the hallway and like go and ask you a question, or be like, hey, I was reading this in this book of the Bible and I'm really confused. Like, can you help explain this to me? Or can we call Nana and have Nana explain it to us? Like something like, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of got hard whenever I came home. And then obviously last year was a whole season of craziness, but it has built my endurance, strength, peace, love, joy, all the things. The fruits of the spirit are bursting inside me after this year. But yeah, I mean, I think we all have different stories, but like they also are very similar. And like the seasons that we've walked through and been through are just so sweet that we've been able to do it together. And I think we can all relate to each other and we can all build each other up and also hold each other accountable when I'm not looking my best, when neither of y'all are looking your best. Like we're there to like encourage each other and make sure that we're still staying on the right path. And that's kind of where we're at. I mean, it ain't gonna be perfect, but we are doing the dang thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like one of the most life-changing things that I think that really changed our friendship from just a little Bible study on our team to an actual deep and rooted in Jesus friendship was when we went to Passion together and confessed things when Jenny Allen was absolutely life-changing sermon. And she was like, there is no condemnation like when you are in Jesus. And then she was like, okay, now turn to the people next to you and confess, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? I never in my life been told to confess something like that. And so I'm like, what? Nobody talks about how you're supposed to do that, especially with your community. And so I think that was what made us realize like, hey, we're all on these walks, but we all are coming up short every time, because that's just, we're human, that's going to happen. But I think when we finally just were like, okay, like that's enough, we're done, like that we have to keep each other accountable. I think that changed our friendship. At least for me, that's the time where I feel like that was such a monumental change. And that took us into this summer when we were doing FaceTimes and we were talking, and we call each other to talk about good grief, I don't know how we've all been through a breakup in the past year, but we have. And so I'm like, we've all been through breakups and new relationships and all the things. And it's been so sweet to be able to be like, here's the deal. I've not been honest with myself. I haven't been honest with y'all. There are things I'm struggling with that I don't tell anybody, or like, hey, I need some extra encouragement, I have questions or whatever. So anyways, I think that was like the most monumental change for me was with y'all, when I realized like this is a lifetime friendship right here, and this is deeply
for sure.
And there's like,
which is crazy because like we were together for a year and a half in person. We met back up at Passion after you went back to Texas, which me and Peyton started another semester together, obviously. But like it's crazy that like our distance like flourished our relationship, not like in a bad way, but like we clung to each other and let like God still use our friendship no matter what state we were in. And I don't know, that's just wild.
No, I think that's so true.
I think that moment in Passion too, like me opening up, I was like, there's a lot of stuff that I haven't even confessed to myself, and confessing it to my best friends like in that moment made me realize there's a whole lot of life that I'm missing because I'm still holding on to this past hurt and just shame and guilt that I'm holding on to that I was blind to. But like that moment, I was like, the guard was lifted, light was like shone on us and everything. And it was, that was also a pivotal moment. I agree with you, Endya. That was when I was like, okay, y'all are stuck with me whether you like it or not, because we're in this together.
Yeah. I think yeah, for sure. And I think what is so special about this friendship too is we were all walking in at least from my perspective, we were all walking in this way of like lukewarm Christianity was just so prevalent in all of our lives. And as like student athletes, especially in a college setting, I mean, honestly, that's so normal. Like it, well, not normal, common, very common. Like a lot of people are doing it. And it's very common in American society that we're all living these lukewarm lives. And I think what changed was for me, of course, my story was like when I was driving back to Arkansas and all of a sudden I'm like, Lord, I don't know what to do with my life. Like I have no purpose other than softball. And boom, he says, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? What? What did I die on the cross for and rise again if you're going to sit there and say some yellow ball is your purpose in life? And so I'm like, you're right. Dumb, dumb, diggity dumb. And so I'm like, okay.
Stupid and dumb.
Some dumb, stupid, and dumb. And so then I then I drove back to Moorhead and I'm like, all right, I'm done cussing, I'm done partying, I'm done going out, and I'm done. Like, that's it. And the Lord, like, it felt like an instant Saul to Paul transformation. Like, at this point, I need a new name, like Jamaica or something, like change it up, you know? I know, I was just trying to give another,
a different country.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, anyways, so I feel like for me, that was such, I needed that like wake up call, like, oh my gosh, you have not been living like a Christian at all. Like you have not been walking in the footsteps of Jesus. You have not been walking along Jesus, but you've been telling everybody you are. And that was the pivotal point in my relationship with the Lord. And I feel like once I actually was like, you know what? I don't care what the team thinks. If I don't go out, like if I have no friends, but I'm following Jesus, that's okay with me, because I just felt so lost and confused and felt like no matter what I was doing, it was not fulfilling at all. And I was sad and I was depressed. And of course, that came with the concussion stuff too. But also, like, it just felt like, man, I'm alone. And I don't feel like no matter how many times I go out, no matter how many times I gossip behind people's back or whatever, it's just not going to make me feel better. Like nothing was helping. And so a change needed to be made. But for me, I felt like we were kind of all walking in that, like on a softball team where there's just, you don't have a lot of ways to get out your frustrations and problems. And so I think like for me, that was something that I just fell into because that's what the world tells you is okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You have that just because, sorry, Peyton. All of our personalities were so different and they clashed a lot, but we all had to stick together. Obviously, we're a team. That's what you do. You stick with your teammates or your sisters. And yeah, I don't know. That's just a little tidbit, but
I felt that, like, reading about lukewarm Christianity, I was very much convicted, especially, you know, up to my life until sophomore year of college. You know, I would say I believe in God, but then go out to bars on the weekends and like try to be fulfilled by, you know, the college experience that everyone's throwing around. Like, but when I got there, I was like, there has to be more than just going out on the weekends and gossiping behind people's backs and just being so prideful and so selfish. I remember like nights where, you know, coming home from the bars, I'm like, I am not, like, I'm more empty right now than ever. Like, even before I went out, like, there were times where I was just like laying in bed, like, there has to be more to life than just what I'm doing right now. And then the Lord literally answered my prayer whenever, like, junior year, when my friendship circle literally changed for the better, and I was very much convicted of being a lukewarm Christian. I was like, I wasn't even a Christian at that point. I was just saying that I believed in God, and then that was it. Like, that was all I was doing. But yeah, this lukewarm Christianity is really convicting. But yeah,
and I think honestly, if you haven't been there, like if you say, I don't feel like I've ever been lukewarm as a Christian. There's always more that we can be doing. So I think probably anybody can have that feeling for sure. I definitely have walked through lukewarm Christianity time and time again, and as sucky as that sounds and as that feels, like our world just kind of in a nice way sucks. But Peyton, going off on a completely different train track here, the whole time you were talking about that, I literally had tears in my eyes because it's just like, You are just completely and utterly like, your heart is literally pure gold, and the change that you have had is just like, the heart change that you've had is just insane. And like, I'm so thankful that like our first 2 years we did not barely speak, and we were there the entire time, all 4 years together.
Mhm.
And so it's just like so cool to see. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I could really probably get emotional about it, but like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of going off of what you said, like, I think the first change with lukewarm Christianity is changing who's around you. Like, whether
Right.
that means nobody or whether that means a complete transformation of who you hang out with. Because that, like, we've been studying Psalms in Bible study, and Psalm 1 said, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord." And I think the complete transformation is the change of scenery, the change of environment, the change of who you hang out with. Because if you're walking in step with the wicked, if you're standing in the way that sinners take, that is you're going to continuously be filled with sin and lies and deception from the enemy, because your community is all doing that. Like we've said time and time again, you are your top 5 friends. Look at your 5 closest friends. What they're doing, who they are, is who you are going to end up being, whether you think you are or not. And if you think you're not, you probably need to take another look at yourself, honestly. Like, because I kept saying that too. I'm not like them. Oh, I don't do that. I believe in Jesus. I believe in what he did on the cross. But honestly, I did not understand the weight of what Jesus did on the cross and what his resurrection truly meant for me and for you and for Peyton Rose. It's like, my thing is just, if you are walking in the way, like, we all fall into sin and temptation, but if you're actively choosing to surround yourself with community that is, they're all sinning, you, and like choosing to live in sin, knowing that what they're doing is not right, then you are actively choosing to not appreciate what Jesus did on the cross. And that sounds harsh, but it's true, because that's exactly what I was doing.
Right, exactly. And as good as it might sound, the enemy is absolutely not worried about a lukewarm Christian. He's not worried about you, because frankly, like, this also sounds harsh, but like, I don't know, if you're not on fire for God, and you're consciously keep reoccurringly making the decision to do stuff of the world and not have any conviction over it and blah blah blah, the enemy ain't worried about you. And because like, you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing, so he's like, he's not somebody that I need to try and attack to get on my side, because it looks like they're already on my side anyways. So
that is gas. That was gas.
I got chills from that, actually.
No, that was
because I was
sorry, I feel really rotten, but that's just like, I don't know. I've heard that in a sermon before. And another thing that I was going through whenever we were talking about lukewarm Christianity in general is just this, one of the pastors here in Lebanon, his name's Eric Petrie. He is amazing. He was talking about lukewarm Christianity and how the boiling point of water is 212 degrees. And God wants us to be 212-degree boiling point Christians, because he is a 212 boiling point guy. And he kind of put this analogy out there that, like, when you go to a coffee shop, there's only hot and iced coffee on the menu, just like in Revelation. It talks about he either wants you to be hot or cold, but like lukewarm, absolutely not. Help.
Yeah, because that's gag.
But
yeah, nobody wants a melted ice.
Which, not that this is so off topic, but I don't usually drink hot coffee. I'm trying this coffee right now, hot. It's pretty good. But anyways, you either order hot or iced coffee. There ain't nobody goes and orders a lukewarm coffee. Nobody. I've never heard that, and it's definitely not on the menu. So don't do it. Don't be about it. Don't see it. None of it. That's it.
Exactly. Mic drop.
Also, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm very sure about that. But so I had just finished the book that I was reading in the Bible yesterday. So I started a new book today, James, this morning, whipped it out. And it literally hits the nail on the head with what we're talking about today. And so I kind of want to read It's just in chapter 1 verses. We'll do 21 through 26 because it's really good. Okay, here it is.
I'm ready. Buckle up.
So it says, so get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives and humbly accept the word God has planted in your hearts, for it has the power to save your souls. But don't just listen to God's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you are only fooling yourselves. For if you listen to the word and don't obey it, it is like glancing at your face in a mirror. You see yourself, walk away, and forget what it looks like. But if you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. If you claim to be religious but don't control your tongue, you are fooling yourself, and your religion is worthless. Pure and genuine religion in the sight of God the Father means caring for orphans and widows in their distress and refusing to let the world corrupt you. Amazing.
Fire. And you know what's crazy? To everybody that's listening right now, we had a FaceTime where we didn't really talk about too much of what we were going to talk about today, but we did talk about how we want to touch on lukewarm Christianity. And Lex had mentioned she was going to talk about a verse in Revelations. And then right before we got on this call, she was like, actually, guys, I'm switching it up. We're going to talk about James. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So the Lord is so good because he knew exactly what we needed to hear, what y'all needed to hear. But going back to Psalms 1, it says that the blessed man is like a tree planted by streams of water. Do we want to take a fat guess on what streams of water is? Okay, the word of the Lord. And so let me tell you, okay, if a tree is by a stream of water that's actively moving, oh my gosh, nourished, it's going to grow tall. It's going to have a gun show like me. And so what I'm saying, I know that was cocky, humble. I need to be humbled immediately after that statement. But anyways, what I'm saying is stay in the word, stay plugged in, be like a tree next to the streams of water. But like Peyton Rose, I swear I'll let you talk.
It's okay. Y'all are on point right now. I don't think I have anything to say after this.
Well, we in Bible study 2 days ago, we were reading Psalms 1, and the second part of Psalms 1 is talking about the wicked and how they're like chaff, which is like dried wheat. And dried wheat back then was just thrown into a fire just to be burned. There was no purpose there. It didn't even burn for long. It just basically disintegrated instantly. So there was literally no purpose to it. So the wicked are like dried wheat. She looked at me across the table and she said, when I read this, I don't think that I would be in the middle of either one. Like I don't think I would be either blessed or wicked. I think I would be in the middle. And because in Psalms 1, it is physically separated in 2 paragraphs and there's a gap between the paragraphs. And we were saying like, how do you see these separated? And there is a literal gap between the 2 paragraphs of the blessed and the wicked. And she said, I don't think I would be in the blessed and I don't think I would be in the wicked. I think I would be right in the middle of both of those. And then she said, but I know by me saying that and knowing that I'm in the middle, I'm leaning more towards the wicked at this point. She said, I think I would fit in the wicked category based off of how I'm living my life. And I was like, I don't even know what to say to that. I was like, girl, I understand. I was living the exact same way. And so anyways, I was just saying, by that whole statement, I mean, she was so right. You can't be in the middle. That is the hard truth about it. You can't be in the middle. You're either living one way or you're living the other way. You cannot serve 2 masters.
Right.
No.
You're either serving the world and yourself or you're serving Jesus and others.
Right.
So that is the hard reality of it, but it's so true. Once you realize you can't do both, once you realize you can't be a Christian on Sundays and Wednesdays and do everything else on the other days, that's when you realize, okay, there's only 2 categories. There's not 3, there's not 4, there's 2. Wicked or the blessed. Wicked or the righteous.
And I think the biggest part of that, honestly, is like we talked about throughout this whole entire episode, is that you like genuinely have to get around people that are hotter than you, not like in a condescending way, but like you've got to surround yourself with people that are full
Only
of the fruits of the Spirit and holy smoke shows.
You picked good.
I just think that's super important. Like surround yourself with good, God-loving people.
Yeah, and very attractive people. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
People are gonna get our sarcasm and our humor here in a little bit.
Yeah. I was just reminded of some snippet that I saw of, like, there's a fence and then there's two sides, and then the side of righteousness and the side of wickedness, and the guy's just chilling there on the fence, and then like Jesus comes down, takes everybody, takes all the believers, and the guy on the fence is like, well, what about me? I didn't pick the wicked side. And then the devil's like, well, I own the fence, I own the middle ground, so you're coming with me, because he didn't actually fully choose righteousness side. So that's really stuck with me, was the devil owns the middle part, this middle part that the world tries to create, but it's just not there.
That is
gas. Lukewarm Christianity was definitely created recently. That was not a thing. Like, I feel like that terminology, it's not lukewarm Christianity. It's just knowing what the right answer is and choosing to do the opposite. It's just,
wow.
That's what the enemy does to make us think that we're somehow living righteously.
Right. When we're not.
Yeah.
All right. We got to wrap it up. Unfortunately.
This was so much fun though.
I know. Maybe we should do this again sometime.
We could literally talk for hours, I feel like.
Yeah. Man, but I'm not paying for Zoom Premium, so we'll just have to wait till next week. But anyway, well, everybody, it's been nice. It's been fun, enjoyable. The peas are officially about to leave the pod until next week. But oh my gosh, stay tuned, because this is going to be an interesting, fun little season of life we're in. And don't worry, we'll talk about relationships. I know that's the one we're dying to talk about. But yeah, so anyways, I love y'all. Everybody be a light for the Lord.
Be a hot coffee, boiling 212-degree point Christian.
Mine.
And love others well. You can.
This is your cue, Peyton.
And the peas are officially out.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.